particular head-to-head, you know, even losing out to Cloud9 in their recent showing in the Blast Showdown as well, respectively, on this map.
Well, why don't we head into the map itself, because obviously enough of my faces, it's all about the faces in the server as we head over to it. Cloud9 is going to be starting off on the T side naturally. 2 sets of utility out for them. There we whizzing on. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, all right. Just had to, do the swish and flick. Hermione's right, you got to get the movement. That's all about the movement. Well, head trick. There's 4 players that are getting ready to buzz over his way, and he better start shooting with these dualies very soon. Molotov sails by. Second flashbang is good to keep him blind, and he's given up his location. The audio cue sent out. Aleksib with a quick one, and Rez not going to be smoked off soon. Isolated duel for Buster, and the quick double tap on the head will be all it takes to bring him down there. He's dead. Brollan, config. The big 2, but now just the big 1. And I feel like this is going to be a big one to run away from and just try and save this Kevlar for either one of these players.
Yeah, pretty solid. Just execute onto this B-bomb side, not getting anything for their efforts. Aleksib just trying to tuck himself into a nice little cheesy angle to get away with 1 extra kill. Could find 2 if Nafany's not too careful.
You had to go and jinx it, Michael.
Well, it should have been easy pickings, but instead it's all finger licking here for Cloud9, and it's good on the B take.
He crouches down and knives his corpse after that. You should have got me when you were alive, which is true.
Missed me when you had the chance.
Ah, yes, the classic nursery threat. Miss me. You can never kiss me.
That's supposed to be a threat?
Yeah.
Sounds like a blessing.
I'm sorry, Michael. I thought you wanted it. Well, whatever, man. Oh. It's USPs that they're going up against. Cloud9.
Yeah. No problem dealing with this. It should be the assumption. And, well, a cute little run boost right into death. Yeah, it's a nice idea, perhaps, but not able to get too much from it. Good overwhelming of the players over towards Ivy, though, and they've got their hands on rifles.
I mean, they will be able to keep their hands on them as Hobbit's going to be coming through on the other side. The home delivery of checks continues over. I feel like this is what ATMs are like, but a little bit less deadly.
I mean, considering that was only USPs, that's a lot more damage than even NiP had really bargained for.
I mean, I was more just thinking of, shoo, there goes the money flying up towards you.
Yeah. Pad in the pockets on those SMGs, but now into full buy territory.
All 5 rifles from NiP. Surprised that they don't prioritize at least one MP9 amongst a lot of them, but hey, fine. That just means that 2 of their players are left without head armor. Brollan, not too fussed about it regardless. They knew how many players they'd taken out of the server, so Cloud9's reinvestment likely to be deadly to their self, regardless of the presence of head armor or not.
Deploying a lot of their smokes to try and threaten this ramp control, but Cloud9 aren't really fully committed to it. So just waiting to see what NiP do. Did know that there's no AWP. The fact they went for the full save the last round over. Brollan trying to one-way around Crane, and Napa taking a lot of damage. Didn't even see him, but tags will be accomplished nonetheless. And so weak in the knees is Nafany down to an AWP. A swap has occurred. And now we're just resetting over towards that B-bomb side. Axel has a lot of room. They want to explore this.
NiP is feeling very comfortable with stacking players back over towards the B-bomb site, though. Aleksib is nearby as well with the grenade. He can try and go for the bomb denial. There's an incendiary here. Scaling up will be nearly impossible. This is not going to look like a pretty sight at all. One-way smoke or not, there's no reason for NiP to contest this so late into the round. There's 20 seconds left. You don't have flashes ready to flush out config, and Headtrick has found a timing where he's gotten 2 as well. This is just a round falling apart. C9 back to save. They go. Previous round was the ATM. This time it's more of a checking account, but Brollan might want to make sure that this bank fails.
Yeah, explore their options, but Headtrick shuts them out. exactly what we want to see from Headtrick coming online a little earlier. This, albeit it's not with the AWP, but at the very least able to have his influence at the start of this game. And, you know, just for some context, Cloud9, you know, even going back as far as the Gambit youngsters and Gambit, this core, they were one of the teams that, you know, they weren't the earliest adopters of this map, but, you know, in 2019, this is when it got added to the active duty. They took and looked at a lot of the games that happened and made it their own. You know, they were, in 2020, both them and Endpoint were certainly trailblazers on this map, and have been able to maintain that form, even moving away from, you know, into Tier 1. Consistency has been astonishing, but so is the consistency here from NiP. Another gun round and another two-man start, this time much earlier in the round. And so Cloud9 will have to do some serious thinking, see if they can find some punishment onto some lingering NiP players. But if, bar that, you know, they could end up in another save scenario.
Buster. One way right above him. There could be an opportunity to spam in, but Aleksib's found his back. Aleksib. Buster just completely lost out in the open, and Aleksib's more than happy to put him down. Is this another save call? And this is something we have to obviously keep in mind, that eventually the save calls stop being effective. Shiro knife out, and over he goes. Rez there to shut him down and out, and even switches over for the AWP. And Trick's going to be giving that one over for free.
Yeah, much harder to justify a save, and especially when there was so much time still left in that round. Just giving it a good old college try. And NiP stopped them rather early, and Cloud9 down in the dumps. No money to reinvest into this round, but given that these past two gun rounds, it doesn't really feel like they've had much of a fighting chance. Maybe reinvestigating what their ideas should be in the following. You know, just to finish off on my point, because I wasn't sure just how that round was going to pan out. You know, a lot of teams, when they adopt new maps that come into the pool, they look good on it. You know, they blaze a trail, and then every other team sort of takes what they're good at and refines it, makes it their own, and those teams end up falling off. You know, Attacks, Endpoint, the Gambit youngsters, once upon a time. All of them play this map a ton, but we see where Endpoint are now, we see where Attacks went, and, you know, the prospects of that team are not set to the highest, but the fact that these guys have been able to grow alongside this map as a part of their rotation has been quite the story to sort of track, even through roster moves in and amongst it.
Oh, wow. If he got that, that's just one of those things to write home about.
Slightly misaligned.
The back sucks Reddit will have to wait for another day.
Well, they are doing a decent enough job of forcing util out of their hands. Hobbit's doing a little light reading. Not much else to do when you've only got Glocks.
Yeah, realistically, all they can hope for is kill. I don't even know if they can get that one. Headshot on the other side. USB pulled out. Napoli overruns. Brollan is there with the spray. And we already know how damn good that can be with his abilities. Shiro gets a bit wonky towards the end of it. Oh. Gun was running out, but I think the gun was shot out of Headtrick's hands over the building.
Yeah, I think that must have been the case, or it dropped forward and Brollan just didn't see it. But either way, they lose that ult, so it's rather expensive. You know, only one kill, but Cloud9 will take it. They don't know for certain whether that ult was saved or not, but it's a sizable reinvestment from NiP, regardless of that one frag. Right back into rifles are Cloud9. They do not have a distance duel that they can utilize. No ult for Shiro. Brollan getting assertive.
Oh, this could be dangerous. This could be really tough. They're going to be on the reload pretty soon as well. Napoli good for one, but he doesn't know. The sneak attack coming their way very soon. Hobbit's trying to keep an eye out for it. Brollan, though. Come on, Brollan. You know, you want to be able to commit to this one, but instead fades away and backs off. There's no extra support from ramp. Headtrick is gone. Brollan all alone on the A-bomb site. Config's rotation will at least be timely. Brollan not forced to contend, but as soon as he even shows an elbow, Shiro's more than happy to take him down. Grenade will be peppering him, but Shiro's not ready to be cooked up yet.
Yeah, thanks for the AWP. Courtesy Headtrick. They bought this just for him because Headtrick found nothing on his AWP. Cloud9 doing a very good job. Solid entry there from Nafny. The follow-up was fantastic as well. And thought for sure Brollan was going to get the drop on at least one of those players on at ramp. But missed the timing. Didn't see Nafny creep close to the smoke. They thought they had it. Yeah, just hemorrhaging players after losing that opening exchange. So they moved to save. A comfortable third round here for Cloud9. This reinvestment has paid dividends, and even being able to get that upgrade on the AWP will be substantial moving forward. NiP do have enough in the tank to recommit regardless. Just not deterred. Just continue to take fights. And, you know, that's one of the critiques people have about this map. Think sometimes it's just ramp hit simulator, and when those smokes are down, people just stop and freeze and try and shoot over the smokes. But they went through them instead.
Like, put it this way. A lot of maps have a float shot which will make you think of the human body skeleton, right? Very advanced. There's so many different little limbs that sticking out, places you can go, how you're going to go about it. Vertigo feels more like a stick figure sometimes. Obviously, that is partially due to it still being a little bit unexplored, in my opinion, and there is definitely room for it to still evolve as a map, but let's wait and find out whether there will be any evolution here and now. Res, the one way, will be used to keep them at bay, but with as much time as Cloud9 still has left, this is going to be a mid-round B-side hit, and NiP are not ready to start rotating Headtrick over. Repeat crawlies.
Yeah, ramp util as well will keep these A players busy, but they actually want to try and get ahead of the util that's sailing out while pressure's building on B. Oh, well, good pick there from Rez, but a counter kill almost instant.
Config's nowhere nearby as well. He's actually gone aggressive in through middle, but the flashbang gives time for them to push through as Axel himself was flashed off. Now, Brollan still left to contend with this one single A-sided flare. It's Axel to fall, Config to eliminate, peeking forward, Buster, shoulder spotted out, but not actually taken down. Axel, his demise does mean that this B-bomb set becomes so much more difficult to actually attain. Aleksib's also nearby, Config still striking true and strong. Headtrick providing another shoulder to die on, and Buster will be more than happy to take it. 15 seconds, Hobbit's got to save.
So surprised that they continue to commit to that B-side play, considering Hobbit had maintained his position over at ramp. And, you know, after NiP were pretty present over at ramp, then decided to vacate, make those rotations, I imagine Hobbit would have heard that move. But bomb didn't peel away, Hobbit didn't take ground, and so yeah, it's an easy safe call at the end of the day. Critical kill there from Config. It just opened up the bomb site for the retake, because Axel was the one player that might have been sort of misaccounted for. You know, the smoke that was down, the flashes as well. He was able to tuck into such a nasty corner, but just unable to capitalize on it. Faster this time over from Cloud9, and Shiro even covering Nafny, trying to turn from flashes.
Plan is to try and recover the frag through alley, and wait, is Config on the boost in middle? No, he's just holding an off angle. Never mind. Got a bit confused with the boxes there. Still the A-side hit being planned out, and this is very well positioned from NiP regardless of the man-down situation. This could very well be just a quick flashbang forward to try and recover that quickly. Now, C9 with no one actually lurking back over towards B bomb side as well. Have to be careful for an eventual flank to maybe come through. We know that Config can be more than happy to try and commit to those, even though with a secondary op it becomes a little bit less likely. Seconds. Grenades being pulled. This is where every single timing matters. Molotov is great. It'll be isolating out long enough for Rez and Hedrick to try and close the distance. They've got to dodge bullets coming out from the team containers, and indeed they're able to do so. Aleksib, the smoke's only got a couple of seconds left on it. He's already being tagged and fragged. Rez alone on the bomb site. Good only for the one. 2-1-3. Rez turns from the flashbang, wants to push through. It's between him and Config's up. Makes it all the more convincing of a case to try and save, but the Molotov backwards. Hobbit found out 2-on-2, and you know they want to go for it now. Deep nade, but it doesn't quite go all the way through where they needed it to. Shiro, light round peak is reserved in for him. Rez, however, does have a window for him to be able to defuse from behind, and they do tap it out. They do show it off. Rez going through! And both players with the kit. What a retake and what a sight hold from Rez.
Yeah, fantastic work. That kill as well from Config. The fact that he had a Molotov available to flush out the sandbag just brought it into that 2-on-2. And like you said, as soon as they get that pick, you knew they were going to go for it. Down in the numbers, sure, but Cloud9 had no more utility to stall, nothing to help set up once that bomb was down, and trying to react to the tap. Had to try and check it with their bodies, and Rez collects on all the kills he needs to. That was a slurry. I mean, a real grinding A-site hit from Cloud9. Certainly took their sweet time, but now into pistols. They ain't messing around. Once again, trying to get in their face. Flash is great, but it's round to Brollan as well, so there is a counter kill. Config already low, and no kill collection in from Aleksib. 3-on-3. Config needs to find at least one more kill to try and justify all this early damage, because weapons have been received.
Oh, God. Config might know. Oh, my God. Hedrick has been immediately dinked down. He's been completely read into, and the grenade almost finds him as well. Pretty much everyone is left on a hair of life. Rez being the only... Yeah, not at all. No path of retreat whatsoever. But how did they even go forward?
I mean, they've played very defensive angles. They know these pistols are dangerous, and I think it's finally been relayed over that Rez has to be the man to instigate some kind of action on this flank. It's not being accounted for.
Config's got to be careful, man. Just a small bit of spam right back from Hobbit could end up taking him down regardless. 40 seconds, bomb planted. A round that's already effectively victorious. Rez coming in from behind to try and at least salvage the win on the scoreboard for NiP. Config found and brought down. That's a risk you are always going to be running if you keep on trying to get busy around it. Hobbit still alive, doubled up back towards Alley. We'll be walking down the street where Rez is waiting around the corner, but the timing might have been missed. Hobbit, M4 pulled together. Rez has crossed through. Flashbang is there as well, trying to stick the defuse. Will they have the spam? Doesn't look like they should. It's a Tech 9 on the other side, and Buster finds the kill, but a bit too late. Just not the one with the M4, otherwise you could have seen it working out for them.
God, Rez being a real hero on this A-bomb side so far in the retake, and now as well when the round has gone particularly hairy. Both his players one bullet away from that Tech 9, closer to death, and just able to come in on that flank. And sure, he might have missed the timing, but understood his assignment, had that kit, had that smoke. That was all he needed. But God, that's scary. That's only a half buy from Cloud9. You know, they move in with a full one now. That extra $800 certainly will help them out as well. Got some floating funds, even with a healthy reinvestment. But they've got a few rounds to chew through. NiP have built up bank themselves. I think just trying to make sure that this same kind of circumstance doesn't happen again. A quick talking over. Because the initial sort of ramp defense there from NiP looked like it was going to be rather successful. The flash, I think, was just slightly mistimed. Brollan ate it fully, and the rest of the team weren't right behind him to keep him covered.
Brollan's been very annoying in ramp. Has been caught out a few times over there as well, won't lie to you, and this might be one of them. Nafany, great angle to be able to find himself into, just sneaks past. He's had the ramp number a few times over. Hobbit now found and brought down. Rez is only good for the one, so still a 3-on-3 maintained, only to be converted into an advantage for the T side. Cloud9, with the connection on config, have a lot of room to maneuver around the map as well. NiP are committing to the rotate back towards a B bomb site. The grenade finds absolutely nothing, a bit premature from Aleksib, as the bomb was nowhere close to being planted. Shiro finds a peek, and Headtrick's left behind to try and save the op as well.
Yeah, I wanted to go for this retake. If Aleksib was able to chew it back to a 2-on-2, then Headtrick would have committed with him, but Aleksib gone for free. Headtrick saving. So 4 now on the board here for Cloud9. Should be able to still buy up around this AWP. Be it there'll be some compromises, but just some good trading. You know, making their way up through B. Obviously, Nafany's entry on that A side helps sort of loosen the defenses slightly. But even with them getting double spotted in at ramp, you know, the quick kill there from Rez certainly helped them out in understanding what was ahead of them. Then, you know, Shiro gets that instant trade. Axile already boosted up. It was very well rehearsed in terms of what every player had to do once they got that kill. Now as well, losing the AWP does force NiP in a bit of a predicament.
Wow, they're opting to force buy into it. This is interesting. Listen, the pistols are great in this map. There's so many angles to work off of. So many close range fights that you can try and take around the smokes, right? That's where the pistols are supposed to flourish. But that being said, I am still surprised that they're not prioritizing the op a little bit more. Headtrick has been a better hand on it this game so far.
Yeah, also they would have come into the next round with 1900 loss bonus, and had they just floated their cash, could have ended up with some extra rifles, but yeah, wanted to fight for it in the here and now. Brollan already losing his duel. Headtrick will swoop on in to him, make that rifle his own.
One-way setup. I'm curious to see whether Hobbit tries to go for an earlier activation back towards middle. Config being swayed away from it is something that hasn't really been read into to the same extent that we might have seen on something like Inferno, where obviously Hobbit was really good about reading when Config was moving back to arches. But they're giving NiP a lot of rope. Question is, will NiP be drawing and quartering themselves out on it?
They've stacked the B bomb side. They just left Rez in charge. They left him with extra util, and he's been trying to do his best to keep him busy, and NiP have the right call.
Missed that Molotov makes it all the easier. Headtrick good for one. Aleksib from this side coming in. The flash is great, but his aim fails him at that moment. 20 seconds is all they've got, so the B bomb side has to be the commitment. Rez finds Hobbit. Not quite the frag for Config. Config's playing the closer angle to try and duo up with Headtrick. In the meanwhile, Shiro's demise has met the op. Perhaps recoverable. Headtrick, regardless, happy to have taken the round away. And Config finds the AWP as well.
Yeah, got there just in the nick of time. What a great read here from NiP. A significant lack of pressure after finding that opening kill over at ramp, and they just left Rez in charge. And even with the extra util that he had, it was so dead silent that he started just taking over the responsibilities over at middle. By the time Cloud9 had made their way up the stairs, it's just so late for that mid activation. There were no rotates to punish. They were already there.
Gotta be careful, Nafany. Don't be caught out over here. He's been very good about working the smokes, but obviously that is something that can switch on its head very quickly, just as the economy has as well.
This time Brollan doesn't really hang around, but Aleksib is right behind him for what is a little bit of re-aggression. Only the sandbags they'll insert, but Hobbit and Axile have found their respective kills. Brollan taken out of the equation. Will they account that Aleksib is right by him and also taking up the exact same position?
Seems unlikely, but at the same time, I mean, you don't have Molotov, you don't have anything else. If I'm Cloud9, I feel like double checking sandbags just because of the lack of utility might be something they go for, but at the same time, information given up. Aleksib knows where they are, knows that it's being lined up and ready to go. Flashbang would be quite nice to have, but Headtrick's the only one who can deploy, will not be doing so. Aleksib holds on to the trigger, good for 1-2, and really it's Headtrick who steals away the 3 from him, otherwise could have seen him getting that.
Yeah, fantastic work there from Aleksib. You know, them going for this double push and Brollan being sussed out so quickly. Cloud9 not maintaining vision on that area, and they just weren't expecting Aleksib to make a move like it. So, yeah, that lack of utility certainly comes back to bite them. But I think even even if they'd had a Molotov, it probably wouldn't have been considered. You know, Brollan was trying to tuck and jiggle in that area. Even if he had been spotted, he could have, you know, easily deployed a smoke grenade and just tried to buy time for rotates and flashes. It's not comfortable.
C9 are just digging themselves further into this economy hole. Feels like
NiP got away with one of these, so...
I mean, I guess. Well, maybe that's one way to do it. Brollan found out and brought down.
Punished for his aggression, either by Nafny or Hobbit. This time it was just a haphazard spam. Now they will Molotov the sandbags just to be extra careful.
But we want
your old
shame
tricks.
on me. Fool me twice. Flame on you. Missed Molotov is actually very significant over there. If it... Maybe... Was it missed? Because I can hear it burning. Okay, I also heard it being extinguished. I'm getting confused by audio, Michael. That's just Vertigo for you. But also me. Maybe more than anything else.
Yeah, the combo is hard to deal with.
Slow push up from ramping, ready and prepped up. 30 seconds. This is so creeping, crawling from Cloud9. NiP has got to hit their shots. There's nothing else to do about it. Rez is the only one with utility, and he is so far away. When he said, guys, you really should be going for the commitment soon, and they're hoping that rotations away would have happened, but now that the commitment is coming through, the double alley position will be incredibly hard to maintain. Buster leading the charge with the AK. Shadow spotted out, but he gets the frag. Headtrick now could be caught out. Good for the one, switching out back to the second angle. Bomb yet to be planted. They cannot find it and put it down. What's going on here? Cloud9 will have to get the kill, but they won't right in the nick of time. Aleksib looked like he'd gone into the jaws of death, and indeed he had, but before they could clamp down, the 9th round was found. NiP. Kill.
Oh my god, why on earth are we cutting it this close? And, you know, they're punished for taking things just a little too slowly. Even Nafny trying to creep through that smoke, he knew he had to be the one to try and punish Headtrick's position, but there was no urgency to go and pick up that bomb either. All over the place. Cloud9 really throwing themselves into the weeds, but in with another buy, and this time an AWP for sure that cannot punish. Brollan's been getting toyed with. He's still been able to have his impact, but he's been losing a lot of these duels and being the opening kill in at ramp a number of times over. This time it will not favor Cloud9. Even maintaining their position. Brollan just hanging around. Config's auto shotgun will be interesting to see if it sees results. Hasn't been quite the same threat. We saw him get on the scoreboard rather high up it as well at the start of Inferno. On CT is a little bit more difficult to be in the right spot all the time.
He is thinking about it. Just going for the quick dance forward.
Also knows that Cloud9 are playing this round out very slowly, so pushing might not be the play.
Axel and Rez. The down to death is on. Nafny in the meanwhile getting slightly tagged up as well. Axel. Oh, Rez just backs off. Perfect timing with their Brollan. Meanwhile, adjustment with the one-way. There's so little to actually move through and past the smoke. It's going to be very difficult if the flashes don't catch out Brollan. He's not looking to catch them at all, though. He just repositions right back to sandbags in the defensive position as where he is punished for it. Headtrick can only cover off a long-range angle back to Ali, and that's where Aleksib wants to try and recontest in.
20 seconds once again, and Config finally gets the kill on the mid lurk, able to upgrade his way into an AK. Aleksib just holding his spawn. He's got teammates right behind him as well. Hobbit finally able to trade, but there's no util left on this bomb site, no safe coverage to get this plant down, and even just trying to prevent Headtrick from denying the bomb, that was key. That's the kill they need, and that's a 10th attained here for NiP. There's no ifs or buts about it, and dying after time. Nafany, no bonus to speak of. Last round of the half, he comes in with 600. Double digits for NiP is big on this CT side.
This does not look like the Cloud9 we're used to seeing on Vertigo. NiP just giving them so much space. And they're saying, we're going to let you trip over your own clocks. That's what it is. Cloud9 are wearing a tight watch on their wrists, and every single time it feels like the circulation's just been cut off. Config, XM once again, looking to hunt down anyone trying to come his way. Last time finding Axel, who was really one of the keys to actually being able to collapse in onto A. NiP's got some great reads as well in the meanwhile. Really have to commend them for their efforts here.
I might be able to break a streak that Cloud9 have been able to attain on Vertigo. Usually collecting on so many more T-side rounds. Over there, a history. It's like 53%, I think. Just had a quick glance, and yeah, this isn't what we're used to seeing. They're not doing themselves any favors as well, cutting the time down so low in so many rounds. Nade is decent, but aggression. This time Brollan will lead the charge once again, and he's been losing these opening duels. This time it won't be the case. A quick headshot took a lot of damage for his efforts, but now that's the cue, the signal for Cloud9 to show some presence.
NiP, I mean, well, that's their cue to back off and hope that C9 winds the clock down to 20 again. Couple smokes are down, so at the very least, we should be able to hope that they commit to a site hit a little bit earlier on. Axel, Nafany creeping forward. Bomb can be planted theoretically. And yes, indeed, no one here to contest it. But with Brollan dropping down, he wants to go ahead and take it close and personal. It's a 5-on-4. They need to use the numbers advantage in the retake. Axel's the only one with the AK, but he's trapped in inside the bomb site. So this will be a little bit difficult to hold on to. Shiro waiting for the peaks forward. Nafany still docked away. The B250 can't find anything. Axel and Shiro are the ones who find it all. 5th round for Cloud9. There's 2 stars. Putting it all together and giving them the chance in the second half. We're going to be back after a short break. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. A heroic effort towards the end of the last round to give Cloud9 5. They now have to find this pistol and a gun round after it should they wish to equalize.
An uncharacteristically poor half from Cloud9, not giving themselves a lot of wiggle room in some of these T-side finishes. Let's see if the NiP fall into similar traps. This pistol will certainly set the tone. NiP could certainly find themselves in an early advantage, and I'm sure they are chomping at the bit to capitalize on exactly that. A lot of util for both of these squads. 2 smokes, a flash, a kit. The nades are great onto Hobbit, but that's the majority of the offensive utility already extinguished from the NiP side. But all this presence, not a whole lot of footsteps. Finally, Buster makes contact.
Contact, yes. Kills, no. Now we'll have to try and make up for it, but Brollan's taking his head out. Hobbit and Axel are able to find a kill apiece, but there is Nathani traded out. Axel still alive at the back of the bomb site, smoking himself off, trying to dart around the metal, but it's just not happening. The beams not giving him enough protection, and Shiro's left in a 1-on-3 all alone. The double swing getting lined up and ready to go. Config playing in from the back line. Shiro looking for cash. That's what he's all about, because that is the only objective and is still left to be able to be acquired in this round, and even that looks to be falling by the wayside. Config, what an angle to have. Wow, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, nice hairline peak, usually reserved for AWPers, but Config just able to make use of the USP in that same position. They were even lined up for a triple peak when it came to generators, but once they realized he was simply going for damage, hoping to punish a mistake, played way more defensive. A solid execute on B. You know, if not for the fact that Hobbit had been double naded, he might have been able to get away with a couple of kills there. An easy enough trade once they realized where he was. Force buy in from Cloud9. Wonder if they'll be more successful. NiP did not make the same decision on their CT. They opted for the save and still did decent damage. Fades on Ivy, and Anthony catches Brollan somewhat unaware, but the headshot, the quick snap, it's enough. No head armor on Anthony. Hobbit trying to make up for lost ground. Wow. Config will do the same to him. Chances here with these deeks, but no headshots.
Felt like no body shots after the first one from Hobbit as well. Gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised by how well NiP are doing so far, especially when you consider some of the weaknesses they had yesterday against the half-buys as well. They haven't really fallen out. Now, I might be speaking a bit too quickly because there are 3 players who are incredibly low hair, so at least, if nothing else, Cloud9 can look into the possibility of damaging the bank, but even that is now limited. Brollan coming in from behind. He should be able to find Buster as well, but no! His own HP was hardly something to write home about.
Yeah. They were kind of scared. I mean, the fact that Brollan got all the space through B, they wanted to peel away, you know, try and make use of the fact that he's got this position and the fact that these players are low. They didn't want to fall into extra pistols if suddenly Cloud9 were reinforcing this A bomb site. But now that they've realized that B is off limits, they will finally put an end to this round. But even just touching on what you're kind of going off earlier, you know, all this extra damage, they could have found kills, but it's also going to be more difficult for NiP to save these weapons. You'll have to peer deeper down ramp and secure a firm exit path, and I think that's what Buster's kind of holding for. If they try and vacate over towards the B steps, then Buster could certainly punish them there, but back-to-back rounds, NiP do not fumble the bag versus the force buy. So critically important as well, given the chances were there, and the fact that this was a map that, quite honestly, I think coming into the series, many would have written off. I know we were expecting that Inferno was the must-win, but if they're able to answer back, once again, on Cloud9's pick, like they did yesterday in the Blast Showdown, then suddenly Overpass is kind of up in the air, because that's the map that, funnily enough, NiP won.
It'll be interesting to see how exactly that goes if we get there, but it does seem like the train has departed. The only question is, will it be derailed before it reaches the station?
I don't think I've seen a nade quite bounce like that.
Listen, man,
in between the railings.
Nades have been kind of wonky this series, right? You think back to that one smoke that landed at Hobbit's feet as well in Inferno that changed so much. Axel, nice shot, but quickly turned back.
Yeah, short smokes, weird nades. It's not been a util kind of day.
Full set over towards B. Buster trying to move back inside the Molotov, and they're gonna know exactly where he is. At least they should know. He turns around. Config does spot him on the jump up regardless, and Rez with the second frag means Axile's. Oh, they have to deal with Axile. Still at least enough of a threat to make them quake, but it's Shiro who has to try and make them quiver. No chances there whatsoever. 13 for NiP, man. They're looking good.
Really good positional play there from Buster, in all honesty. Just a solid clear from Config, who tried to change his routing away from just being clustered up in at those B steps, and that pays off in dividends. Config a nuisance on that T side of Inferno, and will maybe get more chances to rear that kind of play style into this half as well. I mean, I got too many swings at it. Cloud9 need to answer back for us to really consider this going the distance. 3 more needed to close out this map. WP will be denied as well over NiP. Brollan lost a lot of these duels on CT, and T side, well, it doesn't treat him much better.
Nafany's been having a very good read on him overall this game. Unfortunately, not quite the same can be said about the rest of the map and how it's been faring.
And it's clear that's just the game plan for NiP, whether it's on T side or CT, for him to be that aggressive prong. Other players are right behind him to trade very frequently. Even when he was losing those duels, very often NiP would recover. He is merely a tool for information, and potentially kills if he can get them.
Sounds like a pretty multi-dimensional tool.
Hmm. See if this Danish knife cuts a little deeper. Config over at Ivy. Smoke is good and well timed. Double flashes from Config. He's going to try and capitalize, jumping straight through into the loving arms of Nafany, who's found himself a secondary. 28 seconds and getting caught and ground to a halt on this ramp take.
They're also just being sandwiched in upon from either side, so this is just looking like it's going to be impossible. Hobbit pushes through the smoke. 2 quick kills found, makes it look free and easy. Aleksib, if he can get the bomb plant, to be honest, that would have been quite nice, but despite his lack of willingness to commit to the bomb plant, it wouldn't really have mattered regardless. Sure,
really solid bait there. Really solid bait there from Nafany as well. He got that secondary kill, you know, upgraded to that AK and just started spamming that smoke, expecting nobody to be hovering for it, because that smoke was so fresh and they were running low on time. Hobbit just walked straight through it, and you could see no one on NiP expected that kind of a maneuver from Cloud9. 5-on-3 and being hyper aggressive in that nature. They heard that spamming, they're just thinking, oh, Nafany's thinking we're going to try and creep through that smoke again, or going to try and pressure him, force the trade. Instead, they wanted to keep on pushing forward, and that's what Hobbit capitalizes on. Will they be burdened by the same issues that Cloud9 had on their T side? Clock was low, and you saw Aleksib just try his best to get that bomb down, but when they're 5-on-1, someone's almost certainly going to peek you. His investment as well is pretty significant. Took some damage in earlier rounds, so unable to build up much bank. It's the last one they'll have in the tank. Cloud9 can have easier rounds ahead of them should they dispatch of this one just as easily. Building up a reserve will be important for them as well.
Good time on the Molotov, but instead it's just restifying the frag. Axel taken down. Buster now left all alone on the B-bomb site. So on that boost working out for the other side as well, but Buster's there. Great shot and backs off. He's been playing this side so well, but the flashes have been avoided. NiP reads into it, and now with the major advantage of 4-2, it's Hobbit to push out. Good for 1. Backs off as well, trying to duck and dive around the corners. The grenade's going to do damage, but not much beyond it. Hobbit has to finish it off. It's a full 2-on-4. They're bringing it all back. Headtricks all that exists.
to try and stop them. Good for the one, not for the second. Hobbit recovers.
What a what a stud, honestly. Just jumping through the smoke to try and create that room, that chaos, and you saw it just through the entire setup. The remaining players there on NiP into turmoil. Hobbit plays that so well, even throwing the util as well to get the advantage on the fight. Fantastic work. A 3-piece, and a much-needed one at that as for Cloud9 if they're going to start to claw away at that lead. 2-1-4, sure, but Hobbit did most of the heavy lifting.
I mean, listen, after what Axel and here were able to pull off in some of the earlier halves, yeah, I feel like it's about time someone else is stepping up with them. Hobbit's always been a big player for Vertigo as well, generally speaking, from Cloud9. A lot of their success comes down to how much he's able to get, be it on the T side and middle or over here in the late round situations. Hobbit now caught and found out this is not how you want the round to start. And they're even looking to pop through the smoke. Nafany, the side of things is about to get heated up a fair bit. Aleksib, there's a smoke in Nafany's hand to refresh. He's spotted out Aleksib, and that is one IGL battle that's going the way of C9.
Yeah, great read there from Nafany. Just re-smokes in. It just stops the plan from NiP. Could have tried to phase that smoke himself just to get information about what NiP were doing, and I think that's what the plan was, to try and utilize those pistols to full effect. But they've got control of this B bomb site. Taking over the B steps was Buster, and he has to just maintain his position, keep himself alive for as long as humanly possible, because they can just surround, they can capture all the remaining NiP players if he's able to stay alive. But eventually vacated, Axel taking up his space, and now they know about him. They're so fixated on dealing with him, they were lunging to get rid of this presence, and now suddenly another flank. Shiro, AWP, not even needed. It's down to the 5-7. This is buying room for Nafany to creep in.
There's at least one freebie guaranteed. It has to be Hetrick to try and save the day. Res should be gone, but around the corner will be fully cleared. Yes, no, it will be. The backpack spotted out. Hetrick good for another, and it's a quick defuse that he's going to commit to. There is no time. There's no kit. It's going to be so damn hard. Hetrick knows he can't actually fight for it. He has to rely purely on luck, and that luck is just not with him. Nafany gets the full defuse. Hetrick with the AWP recovered from Shiro. That might have been actually what loses them the round. The fact that he goes for the AWP. Oh my god.
Oh my days. That is so close to a stolen round. And the good news for them is that, considering the circumstances, considering they only come with pistols, for that round to have been as close as that is already a great objective to have accomplished. But a round win wouldn't have gone much, they wouldn't have missed it. Oh, that is such a shame. 10-second stick, Nafany did not move a muscle. Their buy is not great. It's not pristine. They're hoping for a cleaner affair than that. And NiP will have the advantage when it comes to the arsenal. Doing a good job of at least forcing them away from ramp. That's because mid-control has been attained by NiP. Nafany counterkill. Brollan has been losing that head-to-head time and time out. And Axel as well punished on pushing through B. They know that they've got most of these A players captured, and Rez almost caught off, but able to adjust. This is a save call from Cloud9.
That looked like Nafany had the timing window for a second. That's the second time where Rez is barely just escaped the sidelines of Nafany, but this time will actually find the frag. Will they be able to save, though, is the big question, because obviously, look, it's a hype round to be winning in the previous and everything, sure, but C9, if they lose even one more rifle, it feels like NiP are guaranteed a 15. I'm surprised that NiP don't want to hunt more, despite the fact that their economy isn't in the best of places. They'll have a buy in the next round regardless.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but they know this is probably going to be a slog. And this is also where you have to consider the idea of what Cloud9, I think their last 12 games on Vertigo, they've been able to win. That's why they field a 100% win rate when you look at the stats directly. They understand that this is still a strong map for Cloud9. They will make adjustments. They've done so many repetitions through countless different organizations, or even with different rosters. They've explored many an option. And one that they're comfortable exploring here is the force around those saved weapons once again. Pistols and SMG, that AWP and AK will be the primary weapons that they hope to find some success with.
Problem is, it's not like they're being set up for anything in particular, right? The Op has just been left behind in mid connector to see if what he can find. There's a one-way here. Brollan trying to exploit it. Will be able to spot out Hobbit's elbow, but not get the kill. Grenade should be able to finish it off, but Hobbit gets at least one before he falls. Nafny is still yet to reveal himself. The MP9 could try and make something happen, but he's not moving through. Buster's Deagle spotted out. Can't find the shots. Can't find the frag. It's Shiro who's got to get that job done. But keep an eye out on Config. He's on the lurk, coming in from behind. The map is thinning. It is getting smaller and smaller, and Shiro's boost up is about to be found out as well. Aleksib knows that all they have to do is buy time and wait. Bide it. Config good for the one, but can't get the second. Head tricks found Nafny. In the meanwhile, Shiro's burning. Shiro's burnt.
Damn, that fell to pieces there for Cloud9. It felt like they thought they had the read all that time, and we're just curious, why were NiP slowing down, and they find out the hard way that that flank was being accomplished. This is such a better look from NiP than the last run-in that they had on Vertigo. Last time over, just unable to even attain double digits against Cloud9. Now knocking them down that same peg, being assertive. That CT side was great, and now on T, they are not letting this ball drop. Feels like we were destined to go 3 maps, regardless of the ordering. Only map that's different from the last run-in was the pick of NiP, really. They understood Vertigo or Overpass were going to be played, and they have come in prepped. Nobody really falling short as well for the NiP squad, which is so important. It's a part of why we talk about all the stars and stars to be on this NiP roster. When players lag behind, it does become a bit of an issue if it's a trend. But often trading places. This time, everyone fighting together. And Config having a solid game alongside Headtrick to open up a lot of these rounds. Whereas Aleksib acting as security, I just don't see Cloud9 winning on pistols like this. NiP are being so meticulous.
They've got one win condition, and it has to be Shiro.
One-way smoke, that's down. Headtrick won't be the one to clear it, but Buster, his support has been dealt with. Hobbit trying to distract, pull attention away from Shiro, but he has to get his kill, and he can't. No success from either of them around those smokes, and Axile a 1-on-5 with this Deeg nade out. It's good damage. They were clustered together, but now receiving this MP9. I don't know if it's a godsend or a death sentence. It will, in fact, be the latter. 1 kill is all he will get. And Cloud9 falter. They fumble and they lose the bag on a map that they have been flawless on in recent showings. NiP putting their foot down and forcing us to overpass.
This is going to be so incredibly interesting, Michael, as we head over there, because Headtrick is performing now. He's no longer having the quiet inferno that we saw him have.